Greetings, loved ones. Today we're going to talk about recording phone calls, saving texts, and voicemails. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You never know, just by doing so, you could save a life. Recording phone calls can help prove abuse. Here's what you need to know about what's legal and admissible. Proving non-physical abuse in court is tricky for domestic violence survivors, but one way survivors can get evidence against the abuser is to secretly record phone calls, which is legal without the other person's consent in 38 states. Emily E. Rubenstein, a divorce and family law attorney in Beverly Hills, California, says many abusers are skilled at putting on a charismatic persona to try to avoid responsibility for their actions and instill doubt in their victims, judges, attorneys, and social circles. A phone call or other audio evidence like a voicemail exposes the abuser's true personality and intentions, therefore circumventing the nice guy act. Recordings help fully illustrate the case to the court. The tone of voice is very powerful in these cases. Matt Pinsker, a criminal justice professor at Virginia Commonwealth University, practicing criminal defense attorney and former state and federal prosecutor, agrees. He says audio recordings is one of the best and most important things for a domestic violence victim to do. So many cases are he said, she said, and getting a recording completely changes that because it's physical, tangible, and almost unimpeachable evidence in the victim's favor. So what can recordings do? Pinsker says recordings can help get a protective order, help get a conviction, lead to a longer jail sentence, and help increase payout in a divorce. Recordings can also help survivors feel more confident about their case. Joseph Holscher, managing attorney at Holscher, Gabby Petito in San Antonio, Texas, says victims often feel tremendous anxiety in confronting their abuser. Recordings help them feel more confident that they will be believed. And in severe cases where victims have been so thoroughly conditioned to blame themselves and feel isolated, recordings can even be seen as a therapeutic purpose, helping victims to see the abuse from a third-party perspective. And having a recording could make survivors less likely to change their story. Pinsker says the overwhelming majority of the time victims will change their story to protect their abuser. But those who have gathered evidence, audio or video recordings, are less likely to do so. So what if recording is illegal in your state? Even in states where recording a phone call isn't legal without the other person's consent, there are nuances that come into play, Rubenstein says. If the recording is made in a public place, there might not be an expectation of privacy. Voicemails may be viewed differently than conversations. And in California, Rubenstein says survivors may be allowed to record conversations if they have a restraining order against the other person. He says even if it is illegal to secretly record, many prosecutors would show discretion and opt to prosecute the abuser rather than the person gathering the evidence. So, how can a recorded phone call help your case? If your recordings are admissible, they can be powerful. An abuser might be calm and composed in court, fooling the judge into thinking a survivor's claim of threatening or abusive behavior are erroneous. Rubenstein says an audio recording of a person allows a judge to hear primary evidence rather than a retelling. It allows the abuser's behavior to speak for itself rather than having to explain it. Hearing someone screaming and threatening will of course cause a visceral reaction. Judges are human beings just like the rest of us. And Rubenstein says that proof of any sort of threat from an abuser can support your case. Along with physical threats and degrading language, these threats could include exposing embarrassing secrets, threatening to cut off your finances, saying they know where you are without a reason, like stalking you, threatening to take away your children, or the abuser threatening self-harm. Along with threats, Holscher says other comments can bolster your case, like directions to other people to silence a victim, promises not to do it again, which imply that an incident did happen, apologies for abuse, which also implies that an incident did happen. Then there are manipulative statements like, nobody will believe you, or your attorney just wants to sleep with you. What else can help your case? Text messages, emails, and social media posts can be some of the most powerful evidence, says Rubenstein. Testimony from third-party witnesses and surveillance videos showing stalking or intimidation can also help. And consider bringing a domestic violence professional to court with you to explain the non-physical abuse. Alex Freeberg of Freeberg Law in Jackson, Wyoming says that in every stalking case there are usually text messages from the abuser. Screenshot and save those. You need to keep a record of everything. Okay, so here's a question. Is recording a phone call safe? An abuser who finds out about a secret recording might become enraged. If a survivor needs to get away, retreating to safety is more important than getting a recording, says Rubenstein. And if you live with or share a phone account with your abuser, take extra care. Diligent abusers may check data usage on cell phones or use account controls to prevent or discover certain apps. So how can I record a phone call? If you're planning to record your abuser's phone calls, it's a good idea to test out your recording system first. Google Voice, for example, alerts the other person of the recording. Wired and LifeWire outline the pros and cons of some recording options. Where an app can't be used, a digital voice recorder held up to the phone can obtain a decent recording. You can also check out smartphone apps that help document the abuse for ideas. There is an article on domesticshelters.org which will have the address in the details for the video that you can look at smartphone apps that help you document abuse. With 1 in 3 women experiencing domestic violence worldwide and 15 million children witnessing the violence each year. That was a mango. If the question is not if you will encounter a victim of violence, the question before God is what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice. And those who suffer violence, they need to know that those who love them and those who don't even know them will step out and reach out to them to give them the help and the courage they need to leave before it's too late. Help us get these messages out. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell, because you never know, just by doing this and sharing it with someone else, you could save a life. If you're a victim of violence, listen to me. You've been told lie after lie after lie after lie. I want to tell you the truth right now. And the truth is you are valued. You are loved. You're intelligent. You are beautiful. And God does not want you to suffer violence. He wants you to live free from violence in peace and tranquility. There is a way out. You're not alone. It's not your fault. And abuse is not love. If you're a victim of violence, reach out to somebody today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. And if you know of a child suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we're going to talk about how to prove non-physical abuse. Until then, God bless you.